Welcome back. This is the last piece of topic 4. So this is lesson 4.4. This is dealing with two-step inequalities. Again, using all of the skills that we learned in the previous topic and remembering the pieces that we have used this time. So what we're going to do first is we are going to box our variable because we want to leave that alone for now. That means we are going to be moving the 5 out of the way. Okay, we want to leave that box alone. Everything else needs to get on the other side. So we are going to do the opposite in operation, which is to subtract 5 from both sides. When we do that, those 5's cancel out. We're left with negative 3x is greater than 3. Again, we want x alone. We have to get that negative 3 to the other side, and we know that these two are being multiplied. So the opposite would be to divide, but we're again, make sure that negative stays with that 3. Now, when we do this, those 3's cancel out, negative 3's. We're left with an x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That negative pulls us down, so it's still negative. And we have to remember that we have divided by a negative number. So when we do that, our sign is going to switch, and now it says x is less than negative 1. Again, we're going to go ahead and graph that. We're going to have our 0, 1, negative 1. X is smaller than negative 1, so negative 1 is here. It is not equal to negative 1, so we're going to do an open circle, and x is going to the smaller side. Okay. All right, the next one we're going to look at is a little bit more difficult. We're going to look at 2 times the quantity y minus 4 less than negative 18. All right, before we can solve this problem, we need to do the distributive property. Please take the time to actually work it out and get the point that you would earn from your distributive property. So 2 times y, keep the sign, 2 times 4. So what that gives us is 2y minus 8 is less than negative 18. Now we're ready to solve a problem that we've been doing for a while. We're going to put a box around the variable because we don't want to move that one right now. Instead, we're going to move that negative 8 or minus 8 to the other side. The opposite or inverse operation of a minus or a negative 8 is to add 8 to both sides. When we do that, those 8's cancel out. We're left with 2y is less than, now be careful, these are different, which means we are subtracting. The bigger one is negative, so we know our answer is going to be negative, but then 18 minus 8 is 10. We still want to get the y alone. We know this is being multiplied, so the inverse operation would be to divide both sides by that 2. When we do that, y is less than 5. Again, that negative weighs us down, and so our answer is going to remain negative. Okay? In this case, did we divide or multiply by a negative number? And no, we didn't, so that's why our sign stayed the same. All right, and we can go ahead and graph this as usual. So 0, 5, negative 5. Y does not equal negative 5. So instead, we're going to use that open circle because it doesn't equal. Now we want y smaller than negative 5. Is 0 smaller than negative 5? And no, it went to the bigger side. So we're going to go over here and color in this side because it is the smaller side. Okay? Alrighty, and now we're going to take a look at a word problem. So this word problem says you borrow $200 from a friend to help pay for a new laptop computer. So you borrowed $200. You're in debt $200. You pay your friend back $12 each week, so per week. You want to write and solve an inequality to find when you will owe your friend less than, so we want less than $60. So we want our number to be smaller than 60. So 60 is bigger than whatever is on this side, okay? So we started with a debt of $200. We are paying back $12 every week, but we don't know how many weeks we're paying. We're going to subtract that because your debt is getting smaller and smaller every week. And then we're going to use that less than 60. We can solve this problem again. So this is our variable term, so we're going to leave it intact. Instead, we're going to move that 200 to the other side. This is a positive 200, so the opposite would be a negative or minus 200. What you do to one side, you're going to do to the other. And when we do that, those subtract or cancel out. We have that negative 12W less than. Now, these have different signs. One is subtract and one is positive, right? So they're different, so we're going to subtract. Our bigger one is definitely negative, so our answer has to be negative. So we're really looking at 200 minus 60. Okay, and when you do that, you get 10 minus 6 is 4, and bring down that 1. So that will be 140. Now, again, we want to solve for W. We need to get that negative 12 to the other side. Right now, this is being multiplied. The opposite operation, inverse operation, is to divide, but make sure you take the negative with you. Now, when I do that, my negative 12s cancel out. I'm left with my W. I know negative divided by negative is positive, so that's good. And I can come over here, 140 divided by 12. Well, 12 goes into 14 one time, leaves 2 left over. Bring down the 0. 12 goes into 20 one time. That leaves 8 left over. All right, so I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. 12 goes into 86 times. Yes, that's 72. And I'm finding now it is repeating again. There's that 8. So if we add another 0, we can see, that we're going to need another 6 again. So what we can do is we can put the line over the 6 because it is repeating. So that our answer would be 11.6 repeating. If you did fractions, that is 11 2/3. But since we divided by a negative number, our sign is going to flip. So W, our weeks, is going to be more than 11.6. So we're going to need about 12 weeks to pay this, to get under that $60. Okay? And obviously a lot more weeks if we wanted to pay it completely in full. All right, your challenge problems for this topic are negative 4x minus 7, that's an x, sorry, less than or equal to 9, and negative 6 is greater than or equal to negative 6 times the quantity y minus 3. Okay, so this time you have 2 challenge problems to finish off the topic. You need to solve those and also graph them on your number line. Alrighty. That's it.